Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Brendan Ecker Influence. Today, we're talking about the Jane Street incident where $40 billion is on the line, and Terra, Luna, it's all involved. So let's take a look at it. We're going to watch all of the different videos, everything everybody else has to say about it. So again, we are talking about the Jane Street scandal. Again, $40 billion essentially on the line. And again, it's very much a Terra Luna subject. So we're going to watch it. We're going to talk all about it. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. You want to work with me in business, work with me. Brendan Ecker, you can contact me and DM me. We'll work together. We'll grow your business, and whether it's lead generation, whether it's SEO, whether it's website development, or real estate. I can also help you in real estate. So work with me and we will be able to do that. Without further ado, let's get into the show. So I wanted to react to this video here, and I thought it was an interesting take. So what do you guys think about what he has to say? Jane Street, this is from Money Ape on Twitter X. Jane Street is in big trouble now. This video alleges Jane Street ran daily 10 a.m. Bitcoin dumps to profit from shorts and accumulate cheap in spot. Claims tied to the Terra Luna lawsuit and ETF manipulation activity. Sailors said they can't suppress. So let's take a look at this, and then we'll read the article from the Wall Street Journal as well.
We may finally have the answer on who has been manipulating Bitcoin since the October 10th crash. If this is true, if this article is true, then this is going to finally explain to people how one Wall Street firm wiped out trillions of dollars in crypto. In this video, I'm going to be giving you the full context on this situation.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is totally crazy. Again, $40 billion. And again, Bitcoin dumps every single day, 10 a.m., caught, captured. This is happening. So this proves that there's total market manipulation all the time, and it's affecting the crypto price. It's affecting everything, right? So let's take a look at what he has to say. Let's finish this video.
What is going to be one of the biggest news pieces of 2026 probably for crypto, if not the biggest. I mean, this could be on the level of Luna. So seriously, I want you to take the time to watch this because it is a
I'm definitely detecting a Sam Bankman-Fried. This is crazy.
Very big deal. This article has over 1 million views on X right now. The 10 a.m. drop, how Jane Street broke Bitcoin's price. Let's get right into it. So here's the pattern. 60% of...
And again, leave your comments. What do you guys think this means for the market? What do you guys think this means for cryptocurrency as a whole? Again, I'm a big fan of crypto. I'm a big fan of Bitcoin. I'm a big fan of XRP. I'm more of a fan of XRP, I got to say. I think there is more utility there. But what do you guys think about the markets? How do you think this impacts everything?
Mornings since November have a pattern. Bitcoin dumped at exactly 10 a.m. Eastern, typically shedding 2 to 3% in that window every single trading day, wiping out leveraged longs, and then recovering hours later. Wow. This is an image that we found of Jane Street 10 a.m.
That's crazy. This wasn't random. It was algorithmic. Glassnode co-founders tracked this across months of data. One December chart showed Bitcoin dropping from $89,700 to $87,700 within minutes to the 10 a.m. open. That's crazy.
And I don't know if you've noticed this, but every single crash pretty much we've had in crypto since the big day, I mean, this is just February, has been on 10 a.m. It's been at 10 a.m. specifically every single time.
It's funny connection there.
It wasn't random. It was a documented pattern. It was algorithmic. The Glassnode co-founders tracked this across months of data. One December chart showed Bitcoin dropping from 89,000 to 87,000 within minutes of the 10 a.m. open.
Again, this is just why it's so important that we have to have the Clarity Act. Without the Clarity Act being signed, these are the things that happen in crypto. This is the Wild West. So you have to understand that these new markets, especially crypto, these things can happen. Okay, and it just goes to show why it's so important that we must have regulatory clarity.
In terms of long positions wiped, I think that number is actually significantly higher, but the time to recover was hours later, and the pattern duration was from November to today. So this entire Bitcoin crash. Now, who's Jane Street? Here's the background. The most powerful firm you've never heard of. The numbers, in Q4 of 2025, they made $24 billion.
Listen to this.
They have a lot of money. They're very powerful. They're holders of a specific Bitcoin ETF, currently the biggest one out there, IBIT. That's the BlackRock ETF. So they've got about $790 million worth of this ETF. Very interesting.
And don't forget that Jeffrey Epstein was one of the co-creators of Bitcoin. So don't forget about that. Something interesting to think about.
Now, their role in Bitcoin ETFs is as a market maker and as an authorized participant. So here's why this matters. Jane Street sits at the center of Bitcoin's ETF infrastructure. They create and redeem ETF shares, provide liquidity and hedge positions across spot, futures, and options markets. They're not just a trader, they are the plumbing. And they had both the inventory and infrastructure to move the markets. And if anyone was able to do it,
Interesting.
it was going to be a firm like Jane Street. Now, here's an excerpt from a lawsuit that came to life 2 days ago. This was in regards to the Terraform Foundation's bankrupt.
Yeah, this all goes back to Terra.
They went
at the end of the day.
They went ahead and sued Jane Street for allegedly going ahead and selling USD before the Luna crash, like right before the Luna crash. So reportedly, they had insider information. That's the allegation. A group chat called Bryce's Secret started it all. Now, Bryce Pratt was a Terraform intern and a Jane Street employee. He left Terraform Labs and joined Jane Street full-time in September of 2021. He created a private group chat with Terraform insiders called Bryce's Secret. He included Terraform employees and higher-ups, funneling insider information, allegedly, back to Jane Street.
And it makes you wonder, how many other companies is this happening with? How many other companies are doing the same thing? You know, this is insane.
Real was very, very bad. Very bad. It had details about Terraform's liquidity operations, reserve operations, and internal strategy. Exactly what you would need to front-run a collapse. This is from the Manhattan Federal Court filing on February 23rd. Here is the 10-minute head start that changed everything. The moment that the lawsuit says it all went wrong for Terra Luna. 2 withdrawals happened from the same liquidity pool 10 minutes apart, one public and one not. At 5:44 p.m., Terraform withdrew $150 million worth of USD. They quietly pulled from Curve's 3 pool, a key DeFi liquidity venue. The public didn't know about it yet. 10 minutes later, Jane Street's linked wallet address, this is their linked wallet address, withdrew $85 million from the same exact pool. Before anyone else knew what was happening, on-chain analysts of Wintermute identified the wallet. And hours later, USD depegged and the death spiral began. $40 million was wiped out in days.
This is the Wild West. Crypto is the Wild West. Again, if you're tuning in, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Support the show, support the channel, support the vibes. We want to bring forth the crypto industry, the crypto revolution. So we can only do that when we're all supporting each other. This is a new channel. We're really, new style of channel content, doing live streams every single morning at 11 a.m., covering the crypto markets, covering the real estate markets, the stock market. But I definitely wanted to start it with this video today, where we're talking exactly about what happened with the Jane Street scandal, how this is impacting the markets and crypto as a whole.
Disgusting. And it didn't stop there. The Terra Luna collapse triggered a chain reaction that really defined the 2022 crypto winter. The lawsuit alleges Jane Street helped light the fuse and tried to profit on the way down. Now, fast forward to 2025.
Crazy.
This is what people are saying is one of the key reasons why Bitcoin just hasn't been running. This is the main reason all this manipulation's been going on. The reason we haven't seen $150,000 per coin. The 10 a.m. dump began.
Market manipulation, 100%.
Bitcoin began doing something traders could not explain. Every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, the U.S. market would open and Bitcoin would get slammed. The drops were precise, algorithmic, wildly disproportionate to broader market conditions. They didn't care. I mean, they wiped out so many leverage longs, triggering a cascade of liquidations, and then reversed hours later. This happened every single trading day for months. For months. The pattern behavior was...
And this explains why the market is always down in crypto. It is a new market. It's a new emerging market. When you have emerging markets, these things are always going to happen. Always.
Dump, liquidate, and recover. Disgusting.
And it's also Bitcoin. There's very low use case for Bitcoin. There's very low utility for Bitcoin. And it's very easy to manipulate. Okay? Everybody believes that Bitcoin is decentralized. Well, it's not. Centralization is just the fact. Okay? Blockchain makes everything centralized. And that's the whole joke. Right? So when it comes to everything that's going on, you need to look at Bitcoin and the NSA who started it, basically, and the CIA and Epstein and those kinds of characters, right? Financiers, billionaires, they control this. And then they told you that Satoshi Nakamoto was this mysterious guy who created this coin and then just disappeared and never sold a single one. Come on. And then you have XRP, and then you have Ripple, and then Stellar Lumens, and then how come it's not happening to these companies? Is it because Bitcoin just has less security? Is it less secure? Maybe I'm wrong.
Now, here's how the liquidation cascade works. They would go ahead and sell into thin liquidity. So at 10 a.m., order books are thin as U.S. markets are opening. A large sell order moves the price disproportionately. And then they would trigger liquidations. The price would drop, hitting leveraged long positions. Exchanges auto-liquidate them, forcing more selling. The cascade amplifies that move. And they would buy back lower to get more, right? After the liquidation cascade,
I suspect that Wall Street definitely has their hands on this. Definitely Wall Street is involved. Maybe not, but this seems like some Wall Street kind of behavior, Wall Street kind of play.
They would buy back at the artificially lower price, rinse and repeat every single morning. This is actually, coincidentally, the exact playbook India's regulator accused Jane Street of running on the Bank Nifty Index. And we'll get into more of that.
Look at that.
But let's talk about the invisible book. What the 13F filing shows and what it hides. So there's a filing that they do that they disclose, well, how much are they going ahead and doing in terms of options, futures, and swaps? You know, what's the long position looking like? Well,
yeah, that's interesting. And then you look at the quote from Ryan Scott here, the former prop trader, and he says, anyone posting this as bullish is committing a capital offense. Jane Street is not longing Bitcoin. Interesting. Very interesting. And now it all makes sense as to why they were not longing Bitcoin, because they were shorting Bitcoin daily at 10 a.m. every single morning.
Well, they disclosed
algorithmically. Very scary stuff.
This was the $790 million they had in IBIT, and they ticked yes on the options indicator. However, the full book does not need to be reported. They could have been net short. I mean, they could have been shorting billions of dollars of Bitcoin while holding $790 million. Yes, options, futures, and swaps that offset the long position do not need to be reported on a 13F filing. This means that Jane Street can appear massively long while being net flat or even net short. Wow. Anyone posting this as bullish is committing a capital offense. Jane Street is not longing Bitcoin. This comes from Ryan.
Makes you wonder how many other companies like this exist, right? How many other Jane Streets exist where they're doing this to the markets, where they're doing this to crypto itself, where they're not just doing it to crypto, but to every single market. Probably happening everywhere.
And Scott, a former prop trader. Wow. So on the Hit article, this was one of the quotes, the 21 million cap is irrelevant when Jane Street can fabricate unlimited synthetic supply through undisclosed derivatives stacked on top of its own ETF inventory.
That's important.
It's the core of the argument. Bitcoin's hard-coded scarcity means nothing if a market maker can create paper Bitcoin exposure through derivatives. And you
basically like the Federal Reserve. So honestly, Jane Street was just playing the same game that the Federal Reserve does every single day, except they got caught. See, when you play the game of the Federal Reserve, and if you're doing what they're doing, you're going to get caught, and they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep printing money, but you're not going to be able to play their same game and actually benefit. You're going to go to jail for insider trading. But the congressmen, they will be able to insider trade. For all we know, there's a lot of congressmen behind this who probably benefited at the same time. Going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Going to be interesting to see if anybody even goes down for this, or if this is going to be kind of like a banker bailout kind of situation, right?
Use it to push the price wherever they want. And he argues Bitcoin should be at least $150,000 right now. The gap between where it is and where it should be, he says, is Jane Street. Yeah, you're hearing that. So here is the precedent that we are basing this off of, the India situation. India actually banned them for the exact same thing. In July of 2025, wow, not that long ago, India's securities regulator SEBI barred Jane Street from all Indian markets and seized 566.
Come on. I mean, if the Indians are doing it, America ought to do it first, too. You know, like, what's up? Like, how come all of the other nations are handling their financial cybersecurity? We are the greatest superpower on earth, especially financially. We should be locked down. But of course, in the Wild West in America, where we experiment with everything that's new that happens in the world, then of course these things are going to happen.
$1 million in alleged illegal gains. The alleged playbook is, well, identical to what crypto traders are suspecting in Bitcoin. This happened across 18 derivative expiry days from January 2023 to March 2025, and they kept doing it even after being warned by India's stock exchange. The playbook was on mornings, they would buy bank stocks aggressively. And on the afternoon, they would reverse it all. They dump it. And they profit on the derivative position.
So crazy.
Massive gains from the options positions that benefited from the artificial move. Wow. And the verdict was the integrity of the market.
This is so bad. This is so bad.
Faith of millions of small investors and traders can no longer be held hostage to the machinations of such untrustworthy actor. They found that Jane Street's trading footprint was so dominant that on several expiry days, they were responsible for the entire positive price impact in the index. The rest of the market was pushed down. I'm not going to get into that in this video. This is insane. From SPF to Do Kwon, Jane Street's fingerprints are
And look at the names involved. Sam Bankman-Fried learned to trade at Jane Street before founding FTX and Alameda Research. Think about that. Think about that. Sam Bankman-Fried. So if you remember Sam Bankman-Fried, he was the head of FTX, and he got basically exposed for total fraud. And all of these CEOs basically came together, and they exposed him for it. Because, again, the entire model just was stealing money, right? And then we had Caroline Ellison. There's that Ellison last name again. Larry Ellison, who just acquired TikTok for $14 billion. We have Caroline Ellison, worked at Jane Street before becoming Alameda CEO. Real interesting when you look at these connections. Multiple other FTX employees came from Jane Street or intersected with its networks. The Telegram chats show that the Manhattan federal prosecutors received Telegram messages between Jane Street, Jump Trading, and Alameda Research. The chats discussed a potential TerraUSD rescue, but prosecutors investigated whether they constituted market manipulation. This isn't one bad actor. This looks like a network. And then parallel lawsuits, again, Jump Trading, $4 billion lawsuit filed in December of 2025, alleged market manipulation of Terra. And then Jane Street lawsuit was filed in February 2026, alleging insider trading as well during the Terra collapse. Same administrator, same collapse, multiple firms, same playbook. That's just so crazy. Honestly, like this is what's going on.
Everywhere. Now, here, let's talk about the Jane Street to FTX pipeline. Sam Bankman-Fried learned to trade at Jane Street before founding FTX and Alameda Research. Caroline Ellison worked at Jane Street before becoming Alameda CEO. Multiple other FTX employees came from Jane Street or intersected with its networks. Let's talk about the Telegram chats. Manhattan federal prosecutors reviewed Telegram messages between Jane Street, Jump Trading, and Alameda Research.
This is how things work.
A potential TerraUSD rescue, but prosecutors investigated whether they constituted market manipulation. This is not one bad actor. It looks like a network. Now, there are parallel lawsuits. Jump Trading has a $4 billion lawsuit, which was filed in December 2025. It alleged market manipulation of Terra and the Jane Street lawsuit.
Again, this is the reason all the crypto prices were down for so long. This is the reason this is the reason the markets have been manipulated for so long. As we look at all of this, it makes a lot of sense why we're not getting that bull run that we should be getting in crypto, then all of the markets essentially. This is happening everywhere across the United States.
Now, to be fair, here is the skeptic's case on why maybe Jane Street didn't do anything wrong, why some say this is overhyped. 10 a.m. volatility is normal. You know, there's a lot of stuff happening on the U.S. Open. The Terra lawsuit is technically not Bitcoin manipulation. The court filing is specifically about the 2022 Terra collapse. It makes no claims about daily Bitcoin selling. Jane Street wouldn't be that obvious, according to some people. Here's the counter, though. India's regulator found exactly this kind of pattern. I mean, they were already caught. Nobody said they were smart about it. And correlation isn't proof, but it sure is suspicious. Very suspicious.
See, my suspicions are that a lot of congressmen got rich doing this because honestly, this stuff isn't going to get past the U.S. It's not going to get past it's not going to get past the House. It's not going to get past the Congress. These things usually get nipped in the bud. The Federal Reserve is going to find anything that is taking money away from them. But if they can benefit, then they will work with you. And so that's kind of what I wonder. I wonder how much our actual government was probably involved in this. Because if India was saying no to this, and if India was able to track it, then, and if we weren't, come on, we're the leader of the entire financial future of America, not just America, the world. Okay, we're literally the global reserve currency. So it's like you would think that we would be able to have things locked down and we'd be able to control this entire market. But, our politicians and congressmen are probably, and again, if we really did the digging, we'd probably find that out.
The lawsuit dropped.
Again, that's just my opinions on it. No proof of that, but we'll see later. Again, we know with Sam Bankman-Fried, he was implicated in FTX, and look at what happened there.
Monday, and since then, the 10 a.m. dump vanished. It hasn't been going. I don't know if you've seen the Bitcoin prices recently, but they've been on the up and up since the whole lawsuit dropped. It's crazy. Monday, the lawsuit dropped, and Tuesday, the dump vanished. For the first time in months, there was no 10 a.m. sell-off. I mean, instead, Bitcoin ripped higher. The crypto market added over $200 billion in 48 hours. Mike Alfred claims an insider told him Jane Street management ordered an immediate cessation of manipulative Bitcoin trading. It's unverified, but the timing speaks for itself. Now, here's what this means for your portfolio. If the 10 a.m. selling pressure is genuinely gone, the market structure just fundamentally changed. I mean, it's a big deal for anybody that's holding crypto. Leverage longs can actually breathe through the morning session for the first time in months. And the India ban, as well as the U.S. lawsuit, creates real legal pressure to stop. This isn't just Twitter drama. The reality check, though, is that no court has ruled on any of this yet. These are allegations, and Jane Street is denying everything. A poly market still shows a pretty high probability of another crash. And even if Jane Street stops, they're not the only market maker. Others can fill in this void. Totally. The uncomfortable truth is that the protocol is decentralized, but the pipes around it aren't. ETFs, options, and futures markets are run by firms whose entire edge is extracting profit from the structure. So stay informed, my friends.
Wow.
Stay skeptical.
That is crazy. So that is the story of the entire Jane Street incident, how that impacted the entire Bitcoin prices, the entire market itself. Again, so let's go look at that. Let's go look at the crypto markets now. Let's go actually look at how everything's doing. And so when we look at the markets and the prices, yeah, Bitcoin is up. Bitcoin's up again at $67,278. Ethereum's at $2,030. XRP's hanging at $1.41. XRP is also up since all of that went down. Solana is at $86.33. The entire market is up in the past 24 hours. Well, the past 24 hours were actually down from yesterday, but the past 7 days we are up, and that does show a connection to potentially maybe this lawsuit against Jane Street having something to do with it. Again, Solana's up 7% in the past 7 days. So Solana's moving up. Cardano's moving up 7% the last 7 days. So when you really look at these markets, again, this is the total future. This is the potential. This is the new stock market. This is what people need to be paying attention to. Okay? You have all these crypto coins, but I'll tell you, most of these are going to go away. Most of these will be leaving the space. I really believe that. If you're following this market, if you've been invested since 2016 like myself, you understand how to read these markets. You kind of understand where we're at right now. You understand that these markets are temporary, okay? The fear and greed index is, again, we're up at 16 now. We were down at like 4. We were at 4 a few days ago. Then we were up at 11 yesterday. Now we're at 16. So the market confidence is coming back. People are feeling good about crypto. They're feeling good about what they can potentially achieve in the market. And people are not selling. That's the most important thing, is that you don't sell when markets get a little shaky. You don't be the victim of a shakeout, as they call it. Wall Street right now, they're playing their games. Larry Fink, the billionaires are playing their games, and ultimately Congress is playing their games. But when these laws pass, particularly the Clarity Act, it's going to change a lot of the entire market sentiment itself. Market sentiment is everything, right? We already learned how fundamentally this one lawsuit probably did impact the entire market. Again, we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see what happens over the next course of a few weeks here. But when we look at everything, we can see that, again, that entire Jane Street lawsuit might have the entire Jane Street scandal itself probably contributed to the markets crashing the way they were for so long. So we're going to find out. But with that being said, crypto is still strong and people should be investing into that future. Okay. So according to prediction markets and poly market, we'll go through some of these. Some of the trending one who will Trump nominate as the Fed chair? 93% of people said Kevin Warsh, right? And then for crypto, when we look at the crypto market predictions, which crypto company will Zach XPT expose for insider trading? Athena, Dex Screener, Aave. And then what price will Bitcoin hit in February? What do you think the price of Bitcoin will be in February? I think the price of Bitcoin will actually probably go down still, just because there is so much market manipulation still. We don't have the laws. The Clarity Act is not passed yet, and the percentage of that passing went down to like 42% on poly markets, somewhere around here. We could probably find that. Where is that position? What will price be in XRP by February? I see the price of XRP in February probably being somewhere around the same where it's at right now. Again, I mean, obviously, right? Next February even too. Who knows? But I see the markets going up. I see there being a future long term, and I think people really should be invested in these markets. You should be looking at poly market. You should be paying attention to the predictive markets. This is how you really understand how things really work. Okay, so then when we look at the gold prices today, we see that gold is at $5,195. We see silver's at $87. We're actually down 2% from yesterday. $2,277 for the platinum price. That's down $19. And palladium is at $1,802, also down $19. But gold is up $12 today. So gold is always good. Precious metals. Again, invest in gold. The billionaires buy gold while you're buying digital assets. Digital assets are great. You should diversify. You should be invested in everything. But gold and precious metals is key. Okay? The people, all the misers who are holding their gold, they're going to probably benefit pretty well. I predict that gold will probably hit about 10,000 to 15,000. I agree with Jim Rickards, who worked for the CIA, he worked for the Wall Street. He worked for Wall Street, and he worked for the Federal Reserve, and that's kind of what his predictions were. He made those predictions only a couple years ago, too. So with what things are happening today, we can kind of see that that's evident. Okay, so when we're looking at the futures market, soybean oil futures still up. Again, I've been seeing consistently soybean oil futures constantly up. A lot of good markets. Crude oil futures, yeah, we're going to be going to war with Iran. So hey, invest in oil. Get yourself, some kind of ROI. Brent last day financial futures, and again, this is for the agriculture futures, but I do like covering agriculture because it's important to pay attention to which companies are really staying on that market, really staying ahead. And I've been noticing a trend of the New York Harbor, the ULSD futures, the Brent last day financial futures, crude oil, anything oil really, gasoline, E-mini crude oil. These have been doing pretty good for the futures. Okay, and then and this is for energy. Okay, energy. Then we have soybeans over on the left, right? Soybean oil futures. Then equities on the right. We got FTX over here, or FTX, FX, so Forex trading, the Canadian dollar futures, Australian, everything's down except the USD, of course, because we're number one. Then you look at metals. Metals, again, we already went through the precious metals, micro futures. Oh, sorry. Oops. Then we look at the micro futures. We look at all of these things, look at all these different markets, and we kind of see that the only ones winning today in the micro futures is the micro WTI crude oil. So again, more crude oil. And that's the trends. Crude oil is going to win when it comes to a war, right? So when we go to war, we're in war times, then this is what you need to be invested in. Not futures necessarily. I don't necessarily agree with investing in futures, but I do agree with paying attention to what's really winning and following those trends. Okay, also, if you are looking to grow your business, be sure to work with goldsharkmedia.com. Be sure to work with us. We'll help you grow your business with lead generation, SEO, promo, and deal flow. We help business owners, entrepreneurs, and contractors across the United States, across the planet. We help them grow their businesses through website development, really through lead generation, through auto follow-ups. That's really what we build. That's kind of where our specialty is, right? What I'm good at is building these lead follow-up systems inside of Go High Level, inside of really build you a CRM that's already fixed out, it's already making you some money, pretty much automated. Takes me about 48 hours to 7 days. With my team, a little bit quicker. Fixed on a base project, so we'll negotiate the price, always negotiable. And then with Gold Shark Media, again, you can always watch how watch this video kind of
At
telling you
Social
about how
Media
everything
AI.
works.
Yes, our goal is to help you build
Yeah, that's my voice.
your business with an all-in-one AI CRM. And what this means is being able to
Yeah,
give
so
you
what
a
I go
little
through is I pretty much talk about how the entire CRM that we can build for your business, all right? So we build the dashboard, the conversations, calendars, contacts, opportunities, payments, AI agents, marketing, automation, sites, again, websites. We do website hosting and domains, of course, too. All of these things that pretty much anything you can think of with digital marketing, we pretty much handle that. Okay, Google reviews, we help you get those. You're going to need that as an entrepreneur, right? So again, this is what we're building. We're building an entire system that's fully automated, whether it's through Go High Level, whether it's through HubSpot. I kind of specialize in that. Or you can just use our own CRM. Our own CRM has all these different perks built into it, and what actually differentiates us, what justifies these prices, in my opinion, is that you're able to white brand the client. Okay, the client. You're able to white label our entire product. Okay, so our CRM, you go in, you sign up, you're using our CRM, you can put your own brand logo on top of it, again, and then you pay to basically have the entire same user interface, right, for your clients. So you'll have an entire CRM built for you. It already runs off of our UI, and then basically you just throw your own logo on top of it. And again, that's pretty awesome. Okay, not many people can do that, and you can actually make money doing that. All right, dedicated account manager, conversational AI employees. I'm pretty good at building those. What I specialize in AI is I build these systems in terms of, I put together these AI chatbots, these AI agents, these AI sales support. I set up the entire knowledge basis. I set up the code for it, and I basically create these really complicated to create AI bots. Okay, so anybody can do this if you have the training, if you have the ability. But if you want somebody else to do it for you, then work with me, hire my team. Again, we have priority tech support, advanced website plus domain hosting, done for you or done with you, set up, whatever one you prefer. Got a lot of clients that are happy. We're always trying to get new clients, but that's what we're doing right now, right? Trying to get new clients. So again, got our FAQ here, but be sure to work with us. If you want to buy some merch, you can also buy some merch from our store. Again, buy a snapback, buy a mug, buy a hat, buy a t-shirt. Everything's in style, right? It's looking good. We're set in the future, all right? I really like the snapback. I want to buy one of these. Again, this is a new product, but we just added this to the store. But I like the snapback. I think the snapback's pretty sharp, and I think that looks pretty cool. I also like the pullovers. If you're in Michigan like me, it's always cold 5 months out of the year, so this is nice to have. Get a t-shirt, get something that you like on the Gold Shark Media store. You'll love it. Support the movement. Support the Brendan Ecker influence, right? And then not just that, support Gold Shark Media. Follow us on TikTok, Gold Shark Media _ where we post business motivational content. Try to post every day, but yes. So goldsharkmedia.com. You need to work with me in real estate. I also help in real estate. I also help clients grow there. You can work with me. I'm a Michigan real estate agent. I'm also an investor. I help people, buyers, sellers, investors, whoever it is. We help you figure out your financial situation in real estate, where you're at in the process, and I help you facilitate that transaction, facilitate that deal, okay? And if you want to become a real estate agent like myself, then PassREUSA.com is a great option for you. Why? Because it has 1,300 practice questions plus ebooks, lesson chapters, interactive videos, and PDFs for maximum value. Again, this is an entire online course just specifically for future realtors, for future real estate agents. Okay, you can make a lot of money in real estate. If you get the right commissions, you meet the right people, and it's a great business. You're helping people find a home. You're helping people achieve their American dream. I love real estate. I love what I do. And so that's why I went through the time to create this entire online course. I want people to be able to make a lot of money, especially during such hard times, right? So come to PassREUSA.com if you are looking to grow in real estate, looking to get your license, you want to make more money, especially during hard times in the economy, then right here, PassREUSA.com. Don't forget the USA in that domain name, because if you do, it'll go to some software company, and we're not them. We're not PassRE.com. We're PassREUSA.com. Okay, but help grow your business and make more money. Do it all. Accomplish everything you want to accomplish. Okay, so now that plug's over with, I wanted to go back and actually look at some of these other stories about the Jane Street and what was going on with that. So before we go on with Twitter X, I wanted to cover the featured story by the Wall Street Journal and what they had to say about it. So we'll be quick with this. Jane Street accused of insider trading that helped collapse Terraform. The court-appointed administrator of Do Kwon's Terraform Labs alleged that Jane Street used non-public information from Terraform insiders to trade. So that's very interesting. The administrator winding down Do Kwon's Terraform Labs has sued Jane Street, alleging that the high-speed trading giant engaged in insider trading to profit unlawfully from and ultimately hasten the crypto empire's collapse. Todd Snyder, the plan administrator appointed by bankruptcy court, is seeking damages from Jane Street. Its co-founder, Robert Grainery, and employees Bryce Pratt and Michael Huang. In a heavily redacted complaint, the administrator alleged Monday in Manhattan's federal court that Jane Street used material non-public information from Terraform insiders to front-run trading that sped up on Terraform's demise. Terraform collapsed in May 2022 when its TerraUSD cryptocurrency, a so-called algorithmic stablecoin, lost its peg to the dollar. A sister token called Luna also plummeted to near zero. I remember when Mark Cuban was invested in Luna. It plummeted to near zero within days of DPEG. Their $40 billion crash hurt hundreds of thousands of investors worldwide, some of whom lost their life savings nearly overnight. The implosion also triggered a chain reaction that toppled companies across the crypto sector, ultimately culminating in the collapse of Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX exchange. Terraform's filed for bankruptcy in January 2024, and a wind-down trust was formally established later that year. Kwon, the brash entrepreneur who founded Terraform in 2018, is serving a 15-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to two criminal counts in August. Jane Street abused market relationships to rig the markets in its favor during one of the most consequential events in crypto history, Snyder said in the statement. On behalf of, and then I have to, Wall Street Journal, I forgot it makes you subscribe. I'm not subscribing. Sorry, Wall Street Journal. You're not that worth it, okay? So at the end of the day, this is what's happening with the entire Terra situation. This is what's really going on with all of that. And it's pretty crazy stuff. We also had J.D. Vance yesterday gave us statements on how we're likely going to go to war with Iran and how all of that's probably going to happen. And here's those statements real quick. And again, we cover all of the politics. We'll cover more business, news, and AI things. And all of those topics will be covered on this channel every day at 11 a.m. Brendan Acker on YouTube. And then if you want to follow these kind of statements like what J.D. Vance had to say about Iran, then follow me at Acker Geopolitics on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel. And that's where we talk more about this kind of stuff. We talk more about politics, what's happening with J.D. Vance, with Trump, with all of them, right? Netanyahu, we talk about Israel, we talk about Iran, we talk about the Middle East, we talk about Venezuela, we talk about Greenland, we talk about all the things you're not supposed to say. We talk about the Epstein files. Go to Acker Geopolitics if you want to hear about those conversations. But we will listen to this because this does impact the business markets, and this is J.D. Vance essentially mimicking Prime Minister Netanyahu's rhetoric on the Iran topic, saying that we do need to denuclearize Iran, and sounding very similar to what Prime Minister Netanyahu was always saying. So let's listen.
The principle is very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they try to rebuild a nuclear weapon, that causes problems.
Again, Prime Minister Netanyahu's been saying this for years.
Problems for us. In fact, we've seen evidence that they have tried to do exactly that. So the president sending those negotiators to try to address that problem, as the president has said repeatedly, he wants to address that problem diplomatically, but of course the president has other options as well. On what we need to see from the principle.
And so that was J.D. Vance's remarks on Iran and what we're probably going to be doing with that. This video has been going viral, and I love it. I thought it was awesome. It's been going viral on Twitter X, not just Twitter X, kind of everywhere. It's from Psyop Anime. Shout out to him. He is great at making some pretty awesome clips. I'm not even a huge fan of anime, but this guy makes me want to watch anime, honestly. So let's watch this. This was really supposed to be about the State of the Union address, this entire anime that was made, but I don't know. I thought it hyped me up. I thought it was pretty cool. I just love this.
この人たちは狂っている。卵の価格は下がっている。ダウ平均は5万ポイントを超えている。こんな負け犬どもの言うことを聞くな。アメリカは復活した。
Hell yeah. America is back. We are back. We're just getting started. this country has only just begun. And I thought that was great. I just love this. Love it. You know what? I gotta make a tweet of it. America is back. Do it right during the live stream, even when nobody's watching, right? We do it because it's just awesome. Love that. So as we look into these other stories now, I thought it was interesting. We see that the CIA is, they're involved in everything that's going on. And again, we covered some of this in yesterday's episode, some of these stories more on politics. Again, I wanted to really, of course, focus more on business and what was happening with the Jane Street. I also want to talk more about, we're talking about business and crypto and finance on the Brendan Acker channel here. So we're going to cover those kind of topics specifically here. So let's listen to what Michael Saylor had to say about the Bitcoin suppression and how this kind of connects to the entire Jane Street scandal.
Offer me. There's a third place you can get credit. And the third place is you go to a crypto exchange or an OTC exchange, and they'll oftentimes give you a loan at 4% or 3% or 5% or 2%. I've had people offer me.
Again, and if anybody doesn't know, Michael Saylor is the CEO of MicroStrategy. He's a large holder of Bitcoin.
Bitcoin-backed credit at 1% or 0%. What's the catch, Natalie?
Right. That's the question.
There's always the catch is they want me to transfer the Bitcoin to them so they can rehypothecate it.
Right.
So if you have $10 million, you either cannot get a loan from a legitimate bank, or you can get a small loan at a 10% interest rate, or you can get a 3 or 4% loan, but then it gets rehypothecated. So your $10 million of Bitcoin gets sold once, gets sold twice, gets sold 3 times. You might actually create $30 or $40 million worth of selling because the Bitcoin that you posted is that you transferred to the shadow bank or the crypto exchange, rehypothecated it 3 times. Okay,
see,
so
I don't really trust Michael Saylor myself. I've never really trusted Michael Saylor. I mean, I like Michael Saylor. I respect him as an entrepreneur. I mean, I understand the vision. I understand what he's doing. But at the same time, I just don't think Bitcoin is that number one asset. I don't think it's going to come out on top. I don't really see Bitcoin being that number one. I think it will end up being something else. But what do you guys think? Maybe I'm wrong.
Holding down the price, I think what holds down the price of the asset is the lack of a fully formed, non-rehypothecating credit system, right? And
I agree with that.
There's a limit to how much you can rehypothecate certain other assets, right? When you post your home as collateral for a mortgage, the bank doesn't turn around and sell the house on your street 10 times. If they did...
He made some good points. He always has good points when it comes to this kind of stuff. And this is why I like him. Because he'll say stuff like this, and it's like, okay. But then he'll say stuff like, oh, yeah, we're going to take out more loans for Bitcoin. It's like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
The price of houses on your street would be lower, right? So I think that the lack of a fully formed banking system holds the price back. The existence of rehypothecation in the crypto economy damps the vol. It works to both sides, right? When people want to get short, they might get short 50x leverage.
This is just such a market most people don't understand, too. You have to remember how early cryptocurrency is, how early this market is. This is so brand new. This is the beginning of the dot-com boom, and that's why Michael's talking the way that he is.
Want to get long, they make it long 50x leverage. So right now we're in that bear market where you've got the rehypothecation holding back the price. And I think at some point it reverses itself. We'll just have to wait.
I think it will too. Typically the patterns do show that with Bitcoin. It's every 4 years. You also have the halvings and all of those different mechanisms. So and then there's also inflows, billions of inflows going into Bitcoin, XRP, going into HBAR, all the altcoins essentially that have utility, the stablecoin market. It's going to be huge. So people really need to, double down. Anybody who's selling, just remember who's buying it up. It's Jane Street who's buying it up. It's Larry Fink who's buying it up. You know, it's Donald Trump through World Liberty Financial, right? These kind of projects, they're buying it up. So the billionaires are buying up crypto right now, but they're going to FUD you and tell you that it's worth nothing, that it's worth less, right? Gary Gensler, remember that? Years fighting the SEC, the company Ripple, against Gary Gensler, who is holding back not just Ripple and XRP, but Bitcoin too, right? Gary Gensler and the way what he was doing really crushed the entire crypto market and all of the room for innovation, right? So again, the reason for the Bitcoin market has been finally exposed. For months, Bitcoin crashed within the first hour of the U.S. Open almost daily. The pattern triggered liquidations and capped rallies during high-volume sessions. Traders began speculating a sophisticated seller was systematically suppressing price. Yeah, so this was Jane Street. Every 10 a.m., essentially, they were shorting Bitcoin. And this is why the markets were so low for so long, at least for Bitcoin. But, you know, typically the crypto market tends to move with Bitcoin, right? So again, looking through Twitter X, you know, this is everything that we've been seeing. So again, what do you guys think is happening with the crypto market? What do you guys see as the future with all of this? And if you want to talk more about the politics, subscribe to Ecker Geopolitics. That's where we cover more of these kind of videos, more of the controversial stuff. But I wanted to talk about Jane Street and everything that's happening with that, right? So this is from Bull Theory. This is insane. Since Jane Street was sued 2 days ago, 10 a.m. manipulation has stopped. Bitcoin was, and again, this was yesterday, posted 22 hours ago. Bitcoin is up 10%, adding $120 billion to its market cap, and the Bitcoin weekly candle has turned green after 5 consecutive red candles. Total crypto market has added nearly $200 billion over the same period. Isn't that crazy? $200 billion, just like that, you know, just from reverse liquidation and all of these things. So again, XRP. Yeah, XRP is making moves. So, what, you know, a lot of Bitcoin maxis out there are very afraid of XRP or whatever. Maybe they just hate XRP. I hear that a lot in the Mario Nawfal crypto spaces. He hosts those every day, or tries to host those every day. And I really disagree with the sentiment that's against XRP. They call it a banker's coin, but it's like XRP has a lot of use case though, and it's you know, I would call it more decentralized than Bitcoin when you really study it. So what do you guys think is happening with crypto? Where do you guys see things going? Again, this is everything that's been in the algorithm. This is everything I've bookmarked, all the biggest stories. We talk about anything political on the Ecker Geopolitics YouTube channel, so go subscribe there. Also, for if you want coverage on these kind of videos where we're talking about all of these controversial things happening in the media, right? Netanyahu, we talk about Iran, we talk about everything. Okay, so with that being said, that's all I have today for you. So be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. If this was valuable to you, be sure to, like, share, comment, subscribe. Support the show. Work with me in goldsharkmedia.com, BrendanAckerRealty.com. Work with me, PassREUSA.com. I'll help you become a realtor, make more money in commissions, whatever it is. I'm an entrepreneur, right? I'm here to help you make more money. I'm here to make money myself, right? I can't make money if you're not making money. If you're not making money, I can't make money. That's how it goes. So we all need to make money. And so work with me. DM me, shoot me a DM. Let's figure out your situation, right? We got to talk first. We got to figure out where you're at. We're working with one real estate client now who's out of state. They're looking to get property right here in Michigan. So work with me, shoot me a DM, and be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, support everything, and I will see you later.